So, and you behave, please, 'cause you're a mess. So, I have a little bit of time, and I want to share some thoughts that I had with the recent video that I uploaded. I think it made me feel a certain type of way. And I will try to capture my thoughts succinctly. I might not. Can you hear him tiptoe around this house? Oh, outside the house. Hey, come here. Come here. Sit. 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 Good boy. Stay there. Stop tiptoeing around the house. No, I don't want to play. No, I don't want to play now. Oh, don't. Don't talk back to me. Stop it. I don't want to play. No. I'm making a video. Oh, God. I'll play with him later. I don't really like him, but... And yeah, don't get on me about hating dogs. Like, you don't know my struggle with this beast. Anyway, I'm probably gonna have to cut this short video. What I wanted to share was, I think if you watch that video, so she's a great singer, was a great operatic singer, and she is in a room with younger vocalists or operatic singers, and they're watching or listening to this recording. Hold on. Oh, look at my eyebrows. Nasty, dry skin. My whole skin is terrible. I think it's because I don't wear sunscreen. I'm peeling, and a combination of dry skin. Ew, I need to sort that out. Anyway, she's sitting there around and they're watching this. They're listening to this recording of her singing a very tragic, very tragic aria. I think it's Norma's Act 2. I'm not going to pronounce the Italian because I can't. But it's Act 2, and it's quite tragic because I think Norma in it decides to self-sacrifice because she doesn't want to like lead. As high priestess, she doesn't want. Well, as high priestess, she found out that her lover done left her for a younger priestess, but also she doesn't want to lead. I don't know who they are. I haven't watched it in a long time. I would love to watch it in person. But she sacrifices herself, and it's sad, and it's one of those sad arias. But I think I want you to pay attention to. So go watch that video again. But I want you to pay attention to the way in which Leyla reacts to it, right? So a big part of that reaction, I think, has to do with the fact that Norma is quite sad and tragic, particularly Act 2, the one that she's performing. And you know, with a lot of creatives, you need to, you often hear creatives talk about tapping into a different energy. And I think it has to do with creation in itself and creativity drawing from what isn't there and manifesting it into the material realm, what is here. Because creatives, in order to create, or any creation, must have a start and it will have an end. Like, it's not an infinite manifestation, at least not in the material world that we inhabit. And so, but in order to manifest it in the material realm, you pull it from somewhere. Now, some people will say you pull it from your mind, from your thoughts, from whatever, and yeah, they can say all of that, but we don't really know where we pull it from. Science will say that it knows, but it pulls it from an intangible part of life, right? A lot of people will say it's spiritual, a lot of people will say it's transcendental, and I lean more towards those arguments. I think for creativity, it probably falls more towards that as opposed to it being a purely biological reaction. Sorry, this dog. This dog just wiped his ass on the concrete. Um, is that a, is something wrong with him? Anyway, um, probably need some vitamins and a little wipe. I'm not doing that though. Anyway, look at her reaction. And so some might say that, you know, in order for her to have performed it, she would have had to get into character. That's one. But also, you know, opera is one of, I'm fascinated by it, by the way. That the human body, the human voice, the vocal cords could produce something like that, and that people for, well, some people for probably millennia has been enthralled by the human being's ability to sing, period. I mean, opera is that weird thing where you push your voice to weird um, levels, and the voice can do that, and it's fascinating. I'm not really fascinated by athletes pushing the human body to perverse levels, or sportsmen or stuff like that. It's not really my thing. But some people are, you know, curiously turned on by that, in a very, yeah, never mind. Some people like that. I don't. I am definitely in awe of the painters, the singers, maybe the dancers. I mean, I don't really know. Like, why would you dance? But also, let me not dunk on dancing. For some people, it's an important part. Really try to be politically correct. Anyway, you just really don't have silence and peace up in this hole. And how the dog is gonna react. Anyway, some might say she's looking at it and experiencing it, and she's getting teary-eyed because she's reliving the story of Norma and the performance and the character of it all. And I think there is merit to that. But what it did bring up to me, and I mean, we can't ask her, and I don't know if she did an interview afterwards talking about it, and I'm struggling to find the full conversation on YouTube. But a part of me felt that there was also, you know, a sort of nostalgia, a reminiscing, a reliving yourself, the very highs of yourself. I mean, for her, it's the very highs of her career, but it's also the very highs of what her human body could do, i.e., sing opera with lovely coloratura, lyrical at parts as well in the Norma. Incredibly dramatic, full weight, beautiful voice. Um, and what kind of convinces me that that's the case is that if you watch the whole 6 minutes, you will see that she breathes on point, right? She breathes as she's sitting there. She breathes the way that she would breathe if she was singing it. Her hand movements, the distraction in her eyes, it's moving back and forth. It's almost, in a way, trying to find a way out, um, but also notice how silent she is, right? But the eyes move. I think that's very interesting. That as she ascends into a high note or into a run, she lifts her eyebrows and her eyes shoot kind of up or from left to right. And it made me think of this fear that I have, which is a fear. I have a fear of aging, not necessarily because I don't want to look like, old. Probably will. I don't know. And it'll be a bummer, but I think I fear most my body not being able to do what it can at this space where I'm in. And that fear is tied to my body not being able to do what it can when I was young. Um, because because I don't think I'm really enjoying life at the moment, or in my 20s. I'm at the end of my 20s, basically. But I don't feel like I've lived or the way that I would want to live. And a big part of the way that I want to live is my body working the way it does now. Well, kinda. It's already started to be weird. Um, and the liver isn't functioning as it should. Uh, you can't sit for long because then you have back pain, neck pain, all of those kind of things, right? You- I feel my body differently. I feel my body denser. My body is more dense, not necessarily. Sure, it's fatter too, but my perception of my body is dense. That it's more. As I continue to grow older, it starts to carry more weight, and that scares me. Um, but but coupled with that, something that I've noticed, and my close friends know about this, because I lament about this all the time, darling. And I say, I cannot process and think as fast as I could like 5 years ago or in my early 20s. It takes me a bit longer to read, it takes me a bit longer to make sense of things. Um, and to me, this feels like a alarming decline because it's the only thing I have, right? I only have my little mind that has been sustaining me the past 10 years and has shot me through life to different countries, to different people, to different experiences. It's all been my mind. It's all been my ability to talk and my ability to reason and my ability to charm people, I hope. And I feel like I don't have a very firm grasp on that. Or I don't have as firm, it doesn't, if it was a vocal run, the vocal run isn't as piercing and clear. The agility isn't as agile anymore. It takes more effort to reach the high notes. It takes more effort to reach the low notes. A lot of it, I think, is because I've been in survival mode so long. Oh, I'm shaking because it's cold, darling. Um, Not because of hypoglycemia, because I have that now. So, and so watching that video, when she was crying, and maybe she cried because it's Norma, and it's a sad shit thing, you know, sad aria. Maybe that's why she cried. But in the odd chance that she didn't, and she cried because she witnessed herself and she experienced herself, and she realized that she cannot sing that way anymore. And that is not that she cannot because she doesn't want to or she doesn't get booked, but because vocally, because you age, you have vocal decline. Everything declines as you age, like literally. Like from the moment you're born, you start dying, and it's all just like a ticking time bomb. But the human voice grows deeper as you age, and the heart grows weary. Oh, sorry. So you have all of that happening. And she cannot sing the way she sang anymore. It's a life gone. You're left with only memories. And maybe I'm being pessimistic and melodramatic about it, but maybe I'm not. Because I think that's my greatest fear. Rereading my old stuff, watching my seminars and my conferences, going through my pictures and being like, I can't do that anymore. And it's cruel. From where I'm sitting, as young as I am, at 29, it's cruel. And I think the biggest reason for me why it's cruel is because so many black queer women, and I'm using black here broadly, not as a marker of skin necessarily, but as a political condition of being subjugated by this fucking world. I think for people like me, for people like us, we don't get much opportunity to live. And so much of our lives are spent in survival and existence. And so you work hard your 20s and your 30s, and you defer enjoyment and pleasure and love and joy and artistry and and gratification because you have to fight the system. You fight the system by working, going through it. So you don't get to live. And then you get high blood pressure and diabetes and all of these things because you're epigenetically predisposed, because you're descendant from slaves or enslaved peoples, and because your ancestors had to go through apartheid, and you still live a fucked up life. And so epigenetically you're predisposed to it, your current living conditions are triggering it, and then you're 40 and you have all of these diseases that cut your life and your quality of life and your life expectancy into half or diminishes it by a decade or two. And then you grow old and you get all these diseases, and then you've never lived, you've never enjoyed, you've never lived. And so I don't want to look at myself or to former versions of myself and necessarily have this view. I want to look and be like, wow, I was hot. Wow, I was clever. Oh, I was brilliant, a brilliant orator, a brilliant mind, a compassionate heart. I don't want to look at my younger self like I'm already doing and mourning because I'm like, you're fading. And some people, when I talk about this, they're like, oh, you're crazy, you're like 29, the rest of your life is in front of you. Is it though? Is it? Also, is the rest of the life this? This is insane. So watch her performance, listen to her song or her rendition of Norma. I don't know. What do you think? Am I being too pessimistic, too dramatic, melodramatic? Am I worried for nothing? Am I taking it too seriously? Am I just exhausted, darling? Or is it a fear that you also have? I don't know. I love art. And I wish I could sing like that. Wow, I wish I would trade everything to be able to sing like that. I mean, I would also love the career, singing like that and then having a brilliant career. But even I think if I didn't have the career, just the ability to feel on your vocal cords and to hear yourself produce those kind of sounds is, yeah, I would love, love to do it. Just like I would love to play the piano and learn another language. But I'm getting old. I'm not as sharp as I used to be. I really am not, though. It seems so much harder to learn something new. Can't teach your dog new tricks. Mm, you can, but it takes a lot more. And I think that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to work twice as hard to learn something at this point. But then you're never gonna learn. Shut up, voices in my head. All right. Enough of that. Let me go and wash and go sleep. Tomorrow I'm back at the plantation, just as my ancestors dreamed.